Yeah, Coach, you had 3 placers at the Findlay Open this past weekend. Talk about how you thought your team did overall.
You know, I thought we fought pretty well. We wrestled aggressive, but we made some mistakes. You can tell, we're still in the first half of the year. A lot of things to fine tune before March, but all in all, pretty happy with wrestling for a full 7 minutes and not giving up on the line or something silly.
Trey Grind takes 3rd for you guys, 149 pounds. He's had a lot of success this season. Talk about what is it about Trey Grind that really we saw the jump from last season to this year?
Mm-hmm. With Trey, I think a big thing is redemption. For him, he went to the national tournament, expecting to be a top 3 kid last year, and was up on the eventual national runner-up in the first period, 8-0, and things didn't go his way. He ended up losing that match, and then went 0-2 out there, and he's been chomping at the bit basically since last year to get back in the mix.
And he had a lot of success earlier in the year that has continued as he was noted in some Division I media releases for having beaten a lot of Division I kids. How important is it, or how much of a confidence builder is it for your kids to go up against that D1 town and beat them, and then take that and propel it against kids that are at the Division II level, the same as them?
Yeah, it's really good, and it's also sometimes can be a hindrance. Honestly, I tell everybody you put your singlet on the same way. So it doesn't matter if it's got an M or a block O or whatever. You got to go out and wrestle, right? For Trey, I think it was good and bad, but yet good overall because he ended up losing to a dude from Indianapolis at the Findlay Open, and it was a late last-second takedown. And when you watch the film, it actually wasn't a takedown, and time was up. Ref made a call that went against him, but I always tell the guys don't leave it in their hands, right? So Trey's a little more motivated from that, but it is a big confidence booster. But like what I noticed with him is it looked like he started wrestling protectively rather than aggressively. The kid that beat him from Indy, every time Trey took a shot, he scored. So it's just getting him out of that mindset of protecting a ranking and more so go out and prove why you are number 1 or number 2 or whatever you're projected.
And then talk about the holidays and how they come around. It's always good for kids to get to go home and see their family. But talk about that dieting issue that, Thanksgiving, we just had Thanksgiving. What do you tell them before you send them home about their eating habits? And do you try to abide by that, or that's way in the past for you now that you're a coach?
In all honesty, I really tell them don't be stupid because the weight's got to come back off. And it's hard. It's very, very hard to not grab an extra piece of pumpkin pie, or whatever it is. My favorite's that pumpkin cheesecake. But, myself personally, I try to eat clean simply, as much as I can. But truth be told, that day's kind of passed for me. I pretty much eat what I want. I suffer with these guys a little bit, though. I try not to, if we're on a trip and they're not eating, I don't eat, that kind of thing. It's tough, and it's very much a discipline issue. I know a bunch of the guys were kind of not happy about their weight when they came back, but they're the ones that ate it.
That's right. They'll be the one to pay the consequences, right. I suppose. Well, let's talk about the Ohio Northern Invitational you got coming up. Who will be there, and how has this team done in the past at the ONU Invitational?
So we've gone to this since I got here. Actually, I wrestled in it, I think 3 years when I was in school. The school I was at before, we'd always come up to it. It's just a good, solid, tough tournament. There's D3, D2, and a couple of NAIA schools that come. It's just kind of a gauge to see where our skill set's at. We're heading into Midwest after this, mini nationals. So this is one where we try to kind of hone in and really focus on the things we've been working on in the room, whether it be our reattacks or our top game or our bottom game. And it's a good, tough tournament. We actually took second last year. I think we lost by a point or half a point. And we didn't have everybody. We won't have everybody this weekend, but we've been dealing with flu. Guys got the flu. We got guys that are trying to get their grades in order, as semester's coming to an end. So it's just kind of like a nice way to kick off the end of the semester. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And then we'll finish up here a couple more questions. Talk about We know how some of the big names are doing here with the program. Talk about some of the freshmen and sophomores and how they've been progressing since they've, especially the newcomers coming in, adjusting from high school to college wrestling, and then how some of the freshmen from last year made that jump to that sophomore status.
So we got we had a really nice class come in last year that we were able to redshirt most of them. Hunter Langlow that started for us last year is now redshirted, but we got Brian Laverne coming out of redshirt, and we have Nick Mason coming out. And then we picked up Colin Adkins, all doing phenomenally. Nick is probably one of the most gifted at finding a way out of stuff. I don't know how to explain it. We tease him all the time. Like the day he actually learns how to wrestle, he's going to be dangerous, right? But he took second up at the Case Ohio Intercollegiate Open. The kid, he's wrestling 197, and he's a light 197, but the dude fights for 7 minutes and then some, in the semis up there, for example, he went down 4 points, feet to back, gave up a 2 count, got to his belly, got an escape, a takedown, and ended up beating the dude. I think it was like 14-4. Just came back, and you don't see that out of freshmen too often. He's a redshirt freshman, but Brian got dinged up at Michigan State a little bit, so he hasn't competed since then, but we got him back practicing, and he's just a little hammer, man. He's going to take over at 41, and we got Colin, making the cut to 33. Just those guys are really stepping up and filling some spots for us that, we had question marks what was going to happen. So, they're just, everybody's buying in, man. It's really cool to see, and, we got some dudes redshirted that are going to be pretty much, studs in the future here, and, it's just an exciting time.
What's the biggest progression you've seen from the first meet to now from your team as a whole?
Loaded question. I would probably say our mat awareness is a lot better. There's some new rules in play. There's like this neutral danger rule that's in effect this year, and we did pretty good at Michigan State. By the time we got to Findlay, we were actually using the rule to our advantage, where so we're in a scramble from the neutral position, and a guy's back is exposed to the mat, right, in the scramble, and so he's breaking the 90-degree plane, and then the ref's going to yell danger, do a count, and then we get awarded points. So we scored a bunch of points at Findlay off that rule, and we're a lot smarter with our line wrestling. So we find ourselves backed up to the line. We're making the circle in. We're shooting them off. We're putting them in risk. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'd say our mat savvy or mat awareness is getting better.
Okay, Coach. Well, thank you for your time. Best of luck at the ONU Invite, and hopefully we'll do this again next week.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
This has been a preview of the Ohio Northern Invitational with head wrestling coach Joey Simcoe.